Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap last night's home run derby, and then I'm going to preview and predict the All-Star game for Major League Baseball. Then I'll look at the WNBA window for tonight. There's a primary in the state of Maryland, so we got to hit on that, and then news and notes, and then we'll have a best bet tonight because there's actually sports to be played tonight. We're going to start the home run derby. We're going to go over round by round with the results, and then we're going to look to tonight's All-Star game. So it was interesting. There's some big moments in there, and some surprises as well. First up was Julio Rodriguez. He was just dominating this home run derby as he knocked off 3-seeded Corey Seager as Rodriguez hit 32 home runs and Seager at 24. Then next was Pete Alonso against Ronald Acuna Jr. Acuna went first. He had 19 home runs, and it was very frustrating, too, for him. And then Pete Alonso came out, had 20, as he knocks off Acuna. And then Jose Ramirez came out with 17 home runs. And then Soto knocks him off with 18 home runs. And then we had a tiebreaker between Kyle Schwarber and Albert Pujols, as the surprise of the night, Albert Pujols knocks off Kyle Schwarber 20-19, which was insane. Kyle came close to tying Albert, but he didn't, ultimately. And then the second round, Julio Rodriguez knocks off Pete Alonso. Rodriguez 31 homers, and then Alonso at 24. And then Albert Pujols had 15, and Juan Soto knocked him off by mashing 16. And that was interesting for a little bit. Like Soto had to get going in the bonus round to knock off Pujols in the second round. And then the finals, Julio Rodriguez comes out and has 18 home runs. So he slows down a little bit, and Juan Soto knocks him off with 19 in that round. So Juan Soto, your 2022 Major League Baseball home run derby champion. So good for Juan Soto. I know he's been in trade rumors, so a lot's going through his mind right now. And Buster Olney had the balls to ask him about the trade rumors, and he's just like, I just want to have fun. I'm a national right now. Like, he's saying all the right things. So now I'll move on to the All-Star game, which is tonight, 8 o'clock on Fox. Joe Davis, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal on the call. It should be an interesting All-Star game. I'm going to pull up the starting lineups for each side. So, in the American League, your leadoff hitter is Shohei Ohtani. Hitting second, Aaron Judge. Hitting third, Rafael Devers. In the cleanup spot will be Vlad Guerrero Jr. Hitting fifth, Giancarlo Stanton. Hitting sixth will be Byron Buxton. Hitting seventh, Tim Anderson. Eighth, Andre Jimenez. And ninth, Alejandro Kirk. And starting on the mound is Rays ace Shane McClanahan. In the National League, your leadoff hitter is Ronald Acuna Jr. Hitting second will be Mookie Betts. Third, Manny Machado. Fourth, NL MVP frontrunner Paul Goldschmidt. Fifth, Trey Turner. Sixth, Wilson Contreras. Seventh, William Contreras. Eighth, Jock Peterson. Ninth, Jeff McNeil. And starting on the mound in his home stadium, Clayton Kershaw. This is the first time we're seeing a pitcher start in his home stadium, I believe, since Max Scherzer in D.C. in 2018. I remember Aaron Judge hit a home run off of him in the All-Star game. And then in 2013, Matt Harvey started at Citi Field. I remember that as well. So, and ironically, this is Clayton Kershaw's first ever All-Star start. You would have never thought that. because of how good he was in his prime, and he's having another great year this year, and he deserves to start in his home stadium in front of the Dodger faithful. So I think it's going to be a fun game. I think that each starting player will get at least 2 at-bats. Shohei Ohtani will not pitch in this game. Garrett Cole will not pitch in this game. Justin Verlander's not pitching in this game. The National League's a slight favorite at -110. The American League is -106. Over under 7.5. Over is -115. Under is -105. American League -1.5 is +168. National League +1.5 is -205. You can do a same game parlay in the All-Star game. That's awesome. My pick for this game, the American League, I think, has won every All-Star game since 2013, which is incredible. So I believe they're going for their 10th in a row. The National League has a lot of pitching talent, but I always said the American League usually has the better hitting talent. And the hitting talent's been coming through. I think the over is a no-brainer. Over 7.5 and -115. So that's going to be my podcast pick for the All-Star game, the over. Because I think there's going to be some home runs and stuff in here. But for the game, I'm actually going to go with the National League. I don't feel good about it. I just think the National League is due. -110. All-Star Game MVP. Let's go with Dodgers shortstop Trey Turner. He is 20-1, which is really good value. I mean, I know Shohei Ohtani's the favorite, +480. Judge is 6-1, so you know those will be the favorites. But then Mookie Betts, obviously, +950, home ballpark narrative. But how about Trey Turner at 20-1? So I'm going to go with Trey Turner for the All-Star Game MVP. All right, the WNBA has some games tonight, so we are going to look at the slate. And that's the only sport that has games tonight. And same for tomorrow. And then Major League Baseball comes back on Thursday. So today at 11:30 a.m. on NBA TV, you have the Liberty at the Sun. The Sun are favored by 8.5. Totals 164.5. I love picking the Liberty when they're a big dog. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take the Liberty +8.5 against the Sun. I think will bounce back. I don't know if they'll win. They're +310, which is good value, but I just like them to cover. 10 o'clock tonight on NBA TV, you have the Dream at the Aces. The Aces are favored by 11.5. Totals 172.5. I'm going to go with the under. I think the Aces play good defense, and I don't know if the Dream could put up that many points against the Aces. And then 10:30 on CBS Sports Network, you have the Fever and the Sparks. The Sparks are favored by 8.5. Totals 164.5. I'm going to go with Indiana +8.5 at -104. I just think that that's good value. These teams are for early 5 wins apart. So I'm going to go with Indiana +1 or +8.5 at -104 for my pick there. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the lone state that's having primary state, and that's Maryland. You have the 4th and 6th congressional districts and governor. We'll start with the gubernatorial primary. The incumbent is Larry Hogan, so he's term limited. So Maryland will have a new governor come next winter. Declared Republican candidates, Daniel Cox, who's a state delegate for the 4th District and nominee for the 8th Congressional District in 2016. Robin Ficker, who's a former state delegate for District 15. An attorney, a sports heckler, and a presidential candidate. Kelly M. Schultz, former Maryland Secretary of Commerce, former Maryland Secretary of Labor, and former member of the Maryland House Delegates for District 4. And Joe Werner, who's an attorney and Democratic nominee for Maryland's 1st Congressional District in 2016. So this is a hard one. There's some good ones in here. And has some good resumes and endorsements. But from an endorsement standpoint, and the person I think is doing the best job is Kelly Schultz. So I'm going to go with Kelly Schultz to win the Republican primary for Maryland. And then on the Democratic side, you have a bunch of different candidates. You have John Barron, former nonprofit executive and expert in evidence-based policy and former federal office official. Peter Franchot, Comptroller of Maryland and nominee for the 8th District in 1988. Doug Gansler, former Attorney General of Maryland and candidate for governor in 2014. Ralph Jaffe, a perennial candidate. Ashwani K. Jain, former Obama administrative official. John King Jr., former U.S. Secretary of Education. Wes Moore, author and former CEO of the Robin Hood Foundation. Tom Perez, former Democratic National Committee Chairman and former U.S. Secretary of Labor and former Maryland Secretary of Labor. So, some history there. And then Jerome Siegel, founder of the Bread and Roses Party and candidate for president in 2020 and Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in 2018. There's a lot of candidates. I think this is wide open. There's some that have done a great job with endorsements. And the one that I think is going to take this is Wes Moore. I think he's done the best job. He has the best, you could argue he has the best resume. His running mate, Arna Miller, has a good background as well. And that's all due respect to Tom Perez and Peter Franchot. But I think Wes Moore is going to win the Democratic primary here. Now we'll move on to Maryland's 4th Congressional District. The incumbent is Anthony Brown, who will not be rerunning. So on the Democratic side, you have Tammy Allison, Angela Angel, James Curtis Jr., Donna Edwards, Matthew Fogg, Gregory Holmes, Glenn Ivey, Robert McGee, and Kim Shelton. I think Donna Edwards is going to win. She has an endorsement from Hillary Clinton, which helps her cause, and Elizabeth Warren. And if you get endorsements from people like that, then you're in a good spot. So I'm going to go with Donna Edwards for District 4 Democrat. And then Republican, you have 3 up. You have Eric Loeb, George McDermott, and Jeff Warner. So this is the harder one of the 3. And for this one, I'm going to go with Eric Loeb, who was a candidate for this district in 2020. So I think people are familiar with his name, so I'm going to go Eric Loeb, although the Republican one I think is wide open for District 4. District 6, the incumbent is Democrat David Trone, and he'll be going up against George Glug, Ben Smolowitz, and Heba Machado Zayas. I think Trone will win the primary here. So I don't really think he has much to worry about, and he has a lot of endorsements as well. And the Republican side, you have a lot of people going up for this. You have Colt M. Black, Matthew Foldy, Jonathan Jenkins, Neil Parrott, Robert Poissonier, and Mariella Roca. I really think that Matthew Foldy is going to win this. Matthew has a lot of good endorsements. So I'm going to say that Matthew Foldy wins this, although Neil Parrott would not surprise me if he wins. But I'm going to go with Matthew Foldy, who's a journalist at the Washington Free Beacon. So I'm going to go with Matthew Foldy here for the Republican side of the District 6 primary here. Alrighty, now I'm going to go over the news and notes for today. Not much. We talked a lot about the home run derby. So the Madden ratings are coming out left and right, and the top rated tight end is Travis Kelce with the 98. George Kittle got a 97, and Mark Andrews with the 93. And then the top 10 wide receivers come out, and Jamar Chase was not happy with being left out of the top 10 after winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Myles Garrett back in the Madden 99 club as he earned a 99 overall rating again after joining that club last season. There's a video that was out yesterday of Heinz Field bottles being removed from the Steelers Stadium, which is formerly known as Heinz Field. So that was really sad to see. Mike Trout to the injured list with a rib injury and is eligible to come back in the second game after the All-Star break. So, he's not going to play in the All-Star game. And, we'll see if he actually comes back that Saturday or not. Chris Sale has finger surgery and still could return to the season after going the procedure. Meanwhile, the Nationals believe that Steven Strasburg likely out for the season with his nerve issue, but it won't require surgery. Stephen Curry shouts out Jonathan Rodriguez with his phenomenal home run derby performance. So that's cool. The Big 12 and the Pac-12 talks end as the conferences are no longer interested in exploring a partnership, which I think is the right call. Matthew Tkachuk in arbitration, as the Flames have filed club-elected salary arbitration with him. So we'll see how that plays out. LaMelo Ball is switching his jersey number from 2 to 1. The Lakers' big three of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook are committed as they vowed to make it work during a recent phone conversation. Texas Tech players score NIL deals as each Red Raider will receive a 5-figure NIL contract for this upcoming season, which is insane. The SEC commissioner came out, Greg Sankey, says editions of Texas and Oklahoma were better than Big Ten's editions of USC and UCLA. I think it is too, like, from a geographic standpoint, absolutely better. I mean, it's not even close. Like, the Big Ten, teams have to travel to the West Coast to play USC and UCLA, which is crazy. Meanwhile, USC and UCLA should have just stayed in the Pac-12 to keep that conference somewhat relevant. Aaron Judge says it's not about the money and wants to play for the Yankees and be there for a long time. I think he does want a lot of money, obviously. I think the Yankees will up their offer as they really saw that Judge probably made the right call on betting on himself. And I do think that he will stay a Yankee as well. And Aaron Judge also said that he wants to see Juan Soto in a Yankees uniform. He says, I would hate to see him go to a team we got to play. I mean, he's not wrong to say that. But I don't think the Yankees are going to trade for Juan Soto. Keegan Murray wins the Summer League MVP as he headlines the All-Summer League first team. And then the rest of it is Cam Thomas, Quentin Grimes, Sandro Mamushkavali, and Tari Eason. So that's a good 5-sum right there for the All-Summer League team. There's talks that if the Knicks acquire Donovan Mitchell, they may want to swap Julius Randle for Russell Westbrook. And then the part of that would be that they would buy out Westbrook. Because then the fit of Westbrook and Mitchell and Brunson, that's a little odd. So in theory, they would buy out Westbrook if they acquired him and took on that contract with all the picks. Juan Soto is remaining focused on baseball amid frenzy of rumors. I can't do anything about it. I have my hands tied, he said. Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins calls out Ian Rappaport on Twitter with his report that he may not be ready for Week 1. We'll see who's right there. And in non-sports news, which I forgot to get to yesterday, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck got married in Vegas. So congrats to them. And it was ruled that Ivana Trump's death was an accident by a city medical examiner as she passes away falling downstairs. That is just really sad. And one of the more sad deaths of the year, which we've had a ton of them, as I mentioned on the show on Friday. So now we'll move on to Best Bet. Brought to you by FanDuel. So I'm going to go with the WNBA. And I'm going to go against a team that's been struggling a little lately. And that is the Sparks. I'm going to go with the Fever. Plus 8.5 at minus 104. Against the Sparks. So a half unit on Fever plus 8.5 against the Sparks is my best bet of the day. All right, that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the All-Star game. I'll make some picks for the ESPYs. Then, obviously, WNBA slate we have to look at. And then the Maryland primaries results. News and notes, best bet, the next golf tournament. And then don't forget, tonight I'm going to have Julian Gilardi on the show as we're going to recap the first episode of The Captain. And we're going to talk some Juan Soto trades, so stay tuned for that. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.